This week is Parshas Thisa, and it gives the last of the instructions by God to Moshe when he's on Mount Sinai on how to build the temple. Kind of started in last week's Parsha where it's the last items. It gives the incense altar. This Parsha has the incense, the wash basin, and the cologne. It also has a call for donations to the temple, basically per head, and it also specifies by name that the person who is supposed to be the architect, so to speak, it's Bezalel ben Uri ben Hur. This week, so I think the grandnephew of Moshe, and Hakadosh Baruch Hu says that he has filled him with Chachma u'v'sivuna v'das concerning kol hamalacha, concerning all of the work. Rashi focuses on the issues of what is considered chachma. Chachma, he says, it's basically gathering information, facts. Tevuna is, I don't remember he says this exactly. Let's take a look. Tevuna, mevin davar milibo mitoch devarim shel lamad. That it's a case of having an intellectual appreciation of the things that you learn. The general idea is that a person is able to make intellectual inferences. Das, Rashi says, is Ruach HaKodesh, divine inspiration. The concept of Das, it's often translated as knowledge, similar to wisdom, but in the case of knowledge, it's something that a person has a deeper appreciation for. So to speak, it is his modus operandi. When a person gives his opinion, the word dot in Hebrew is the same as opinion. He's telling you how he really thinks and how he really conducts his life based on the things that he considers to be true. It's a case where you're building up and expanding and making your knowledge much more sophisticated, is what we're talking about in this case. And it is, in the case of Bezalel, it's specifically devoted to the construction of the temple and its various furnishings. The Gemara talks about Bezalel on Brachas 45, the Amud Aleph, and it said that he understood how to combine the various letters. The idea of the letters is brought in various Kabbalistic Sephorim. It's particularly delved into in the Sefer Yetzirah, that the idea is that the letters Aleph through Tes represent the totality of everything that a person can write or speak. It's all composed of letters. It takes it a number of steps further and says that just like there are letters of speech, there are letters of creation, and there are 22 of them, in that those are the basic components of the creation. Everything is comprised of these 22 distinct forces, not more, not less. And that it's through their combinations that we get various creations. And that this is something that Bezalel was very well versed in general, how it applies to the world, as well as how it applies to the base mikdash, and how how the different vessels in the temple itself are meant to convey specific ideas. You have the Ibn Ezra gives it a biological approach, where he comments that a person, which is biologically very correct, has in the upper section of his brain, which is the bulk of the brain, there are three specific lobes. There's the occipital lobe that is in the back, and this is the lobe which, in fact, a person's basic facts, the things that they've learned or that they observed or that they heard, this is where they are housed. After that, you have the center lobe, the parietal lobe, if I'm saying it right, which contains what we would call understanding. This is where a person ponders things and makes inferences, makes their own combinations. That occurs in the center lobe, which is in fact larger than the back lobe. Then you have the frontal lobe, which is in fact very large, maybe as large as the other two lobes combined. And this is where the Ruach HaKodesh, the dot is, the idea of how their sensory mechanisms, as well as their imaginative capacities. So, and what you have later also is that the tefillin, which represents, so to speak, the crown on our head, and our link to God, goes above or in front of the frontal lobe. Okay. The idea, though, is that of wisdom becoming more and more not only refined, but it's expanded until it becomes our bridge to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Rambam discusses this parsha as well, and said that basically that Bezalel understood the sod of the various vessels. So it is often translated as secret, but it's related to Yesod, the basic principles, the basic purpose, the idea of the perfection of the mitzvah. And that what he would do is that this knowledge would go into his construction of the base midrash. The idea is, say in painting, where the painter is trying to express a particular idea. You have it, say in Picasso's Guernica, where the horror of war is being discussed, or you might be trying to get express the beauty of a flower in some of the Picasso paintings. or tranquility in some of the Van Goghs. But the idea is that there is a message behind all of the different kelim in the temple. That the idea is that when a person sees the menorah, it should remind them and bring out their feelings concerning study and education, and so on. The Seforno, or I should say, the Ramban also talks about the names. Okay, and the idea is that the name tells us something about the person. I'm sorry, this is the Kli Yakar, where he says that, and he brings the Gemara that said that Betzalel is the language of Betzal El, in the shadow of God, meaning that he had divine inspiration. His full knowing, though, is Betzalel ben Uri ben Hur. Uri means light. Hur means a socket, or it also means white as well. The idea is that it's the white of a person's eye, and also referring to the idea that the eyes are recessed. The idea is that a person needs a beit kibul, a receptacle, to gather something, in that the eye is, or the socket of the eye, the white of the eye, is a receptacle for vision and sight, which comes in through the eyeball, or is light. It's a receptacle for light. And Betzalel, the idea of Ruach HaKodesh, means a person understands and perceives what they're seeing. What they see is, in this case, God's purposes in this world, what his plan is, and how to express it in the temple and its various vessels. The Seforno discusses this, and let's take a look at it. Says that the reason that Betzalel was specifically chosen was because he was a hamechavein b'pu'olato sheyusag tachlis hamitzvah, that he was able to express through his work what is considered the perfection in the realization of the mitzvah. That is the basic idea of the temple, that we should perceive just what God is commanding us and instructing us to do in this world.